All right. So today for this interview, we have Arianna. We have a few artists named Arianna at this point. We have Arianna to be a really, really good interview. Before we jump into it, I'm gonna let you go ahead and introduce yourself, Arianna.
Hi, everybody. My name is Arianna Lomelli. I am a Christian landscape artist. I am located in Riverside, California. I'm married and I have two sons.
And it always happened. Everyone will want to go look afterwards. For those who want to check you out on, let's say, Instagram, what is your Instagram?
My Instagram is a.lomelli underscore art underscore studio.
So A.LOMELI
Yes.
dot.
Underscore art underscore studio.
Okay, perfect. Now, jumping into it, we definitely have a lot to talk about. I still remember we had our first one-to-one call because you had a call directly with me and we talked so much on that call. But
Yes.
getting into it, before ever meeting me, how long have you been creating artwork professionally? When I say professionally, I'm talking about like you're thinking to yourself, this is some good work I could possibly be selling.
Since December 2020 is when I started um, going back and dabbling in painting and drawing.
And crazy enough, it seemed like so many started during that COVID time. Is that around the same time?
Yes, yeah. So it was around COVID, and a very successful business lady in my church. She actually bought my first small painting that I've ever done. Since like being a mom and getting married and all those things, and she really just encouraged me to go after it. So I think there's a lot of power in just simply believing in somebody.
I'm with you. And so the person at church purchased that first piece. Was it at that moment you decided, like, you know what, I think I could actually be an artist, a full-time artist, or did it take some time to get to that point? When did you decide, like, I want to say I could earn some income from doing what I love?
Once she bought it from me, that's when I was like, you know what, I really think that I can do this. But she really encouraged me, and then my husband encouraged me too. He bought me like new paint and new paintbrushes, and he's seen how much it changed my mood and my stress level, like really decreased and everything. It's really stressful being a new mom, So yeah, I think with a lot of that encouragement and people believing that I can do it and they really seeing
Yeah.
something, that's when I was like, yeah, I want to do this.
Yeah. And how much did you sell that piece to? Sell that piece for?
Why you gotta ask?
Everybody gonna want to know. I'm gonna ask some tough questions that everybody gonna want the answers to.
It was very small and it was my first painting. Okay. So this is sad. I was so scared. I only asked $20 and I think she felt bad and she gave me $50.
So at church, very first sale, you asked for 20, she give you 50. Holy crap, somebody just purchased my work. Maybe I'm on or something here.
Yeah. Yeah.
And at this point, you have to start like already dialed in, right? Or would you still trying to figure out your style and everything?
You know what? When I was in college, I went to Cal State Long Beach, and I actually wanted to be an art teacher. So they just kind of put you through an assembly line of classes that you have to complete. So it wasn't anything that was concentrated in. And so once I came back to art years later in December 2020, I just decided that I was just going to have fun and like kind of just like find my style and find those things that I really just like to paint.
Okay. So now we're coming up on, could you say December 2020, right? So
Yeah.
now we're coming up on 2021. In 2021, have you sold any work or would you make sales?
But I was just painting cards. I didn't have that confidence to really like paint originals, partly because I didn't know how to sell them. I didn't know, I didn't have any idea how to sell those. So I just painted cards. So people would ask me like, oh, Arianna, can you paint me some Christmas cards? Can you paint Valentine? And so I did, because once again, I was just trying to find um, my style and those things that I really like to do. So I made sales doing that.
How much are you selling the cards for?
This ain't right. Why are you?
We have to ask questions. Everyone want to know.
This is sad. It was only they were only like $8 at the time.
Okay, so we sell now painting cards. How you market them is like people from the church purchasing the cards and family and friends.
I marketed them on my Instagram, and then I would take them to church because I realized that not everybody is on Instagram. So I take them to church, or and then show some of the people at church. And then when it was Mother's Day, I would ask their husband, like, "Oh, do you want to buy a card from me? For your wife for Mother's Day?" So I was very proactive. Like, even though it was a small product and I wasn't making a lot of money from it, I was like, I set a goal in my mind. I wanted to make enough money to at least cover groceries, at least. And so that's why I was very proactive, because I'm a very goal-oriented person.
And when you say you wasn't making much and you wanted to go to cover groceries, so what was that number? How much you making per month selling the cards?
I was making like $400. I thought that was
Okay.
good cards,
No, I think that is good, especially selling cards for $8. That I say if you're selling cards for $8 and you're making about 400 a month, it shows. I understand some of us may be inconsistent, but it shows like what you said, your work ethic and like just being determined to get them out there. So
yeah.
you're doing about $400 from the cards. Usually, when you're making $400 from your own art, you feel great about it, right? So what made you decide, you know what, maybe I can earn more. Maybe I should look into like getting a mentor, so try to take this a step further.
What really changed for me was that, like, yes, the cards was nice, and then I started moving, like shifting and doing like little ornaments, like custom portrait ornaments for people, and a couple other like merch stuff, right? But I was like, this is really crafty, like not trying to downplay crafters, but I was like, I want to be an artist. Like, there's a lot of ideas that I have in my mind that I want to put on canvas. And so when I would get a lot of like positive comments about them and things like that, but no one was buying. So that would make me, I would be very hesitant to create. And I think that's sad. I don't think any artist should be hesitant to create the things that are like burning in your soul, right? Like, you shouldn't have to feel that way. And that's where I was. And I hated that feeling of being scared to paint what was really on my heart because I didn't know how to sell it.
That makes sense. It makes sense.
Yeah.
So then you're like, okay, I thought painting, but how the heck do I sell actual paintings?
Yeah.
So did you attempt to try to sell those paintings on your own? Like, what was the big struggle when it came to trying to sell your work?
I tried to sell my work at a local art show here in Riverside that was in April, and I did really good. I sold all my other stuff that I do except my originals. And so I was like, there's something that I'm missing here that I just don't know. And at that time I was actually a part of another program with a different mentor, and she was saying, oh, they didn't sell because they weren't framed. And then so I'm like, okay, well, I wish I would have known that. You should have told me that before I even did the interview, or excuse me, the art show. You should have told me that. Why didn't you tell me? You're supposed to be my mentor. I paid you. So
Yeah. You, you had the art show. At the art show, it went well, but the main thing you wanted to sell is like, wait, I didn't sell just the original paintings.
yeah.
Okay, now going around full circle, we went from 2021 to we haven't started working together until 2023.
Hmm.
right? And just so everybody gets some good understanding, how long would you have been working together so far?
We started working together July 29th of this year.
Okay, July 29th, so we're talking about 7 months, roughly.
Right. Mhm.
So with that being said, July 29th, we start working maybe like 6 months, something like that. So
Mhm.
we start working together. With that being said, what made you decide, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and seek a new mentor? Specifically, I want to see what artist Rise and Jaroid have to
Okay, so the truth is, I remember.
offer. And we want the truth.
Okay, so the truth is, I remember back in 2020 when I first started, painting anything. I seen your program because, of course, when the algorithm shows you, the things that you look up, so on and so forth. So I seen your program then, but I also seen like a lot of other programs too, So of course I was like, oh, these are interesting programs, maybe one day I could join. But when I was stuck in June and July of this year were horrible, like very, very low times for me in terms of my art career. So I remember seeing your ad again, and I thought to myself, there's has to be something that he's doing right, because from 2020, when I first seen your ad, all the way until 3 years later, that you're still doing what you're doing, and there's more artists that are joining your program. And so I was like, there has to be something that he knows that I just don't know, and I need his knowledge, and that's it. I'm just gonna schedule a call and see what he has to say.
Okay. And then at this time, funny enough, when you scheduled a call, if I'm not mistaken, I think your call came directly to mine. The very first time was you talking directly with me.
So I remember scheduling my very, very first call in like 2021, but I was scared. I did get scared, and I didn't go through with it. I was scared. I was like, oh, if this is real. And so, yes, flash forward now to July 29th, and I scheduled another call, but I got to talk with you. I think that very first time I was talking with somebody else because the voice
Yeah.
was not the
So on the 29th, you scheduled a call and you was talking directly with me. Funny enough, I don't take any calls whatsoever. I think probably one of the last calls I ever took. So
Yay.
so on that initial call, I know a lot of us will see the results online. They'll schedule a call, but still get really, really nervous on that call. So I guess I'm asking, on the call, what made you decide, like, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna give this another chance.
Um, my son was getting ready to start kindergarten at the school at our church, and for that you have to pay out of pocket. And I was at a point where I was like, okay, Ariana, you have to be able to really make this art work, so that you can help. So that I can help my husband to pay for our sons to go to the church school. And to me, the monthly payment wasn't a lot. I knew that I could do it. I just needed to know how to sell my originals and get away from the other stuff that I was doing, so that I can comfortably afford and help my husband to pay for my son to go to school. So I had tunnel vision. I was like, there's no option. Like, giving up can't be an option. Um, yeah, there was no option. There was no other option. I needed help. And the mentor that I had at the time, I even messaged her and I asked her, how do I sell my originals? She never got back to me until after I signed up for your program. And I was like, well, too late. You're
So at
fired.
this time, you still had another mentor, but at this time you scheduled a call. We had a one-on-one conversation. In that one-on-one conversation, something made you decide, I'm gonna do this. And at that point, we started working together. I know this happened a lot, so I just want to ask. In that first one-on-one conversation, what was your mind? Because a lot of artists are super nervous, they're super hesitant, they're a bit scared. And then some artists like, you know what? I already know this what I want to do. I've been following for some time. And where were you on that like scale?
I was a little scared, but I am a little impulsive. And when I see that there's an opportunity, and like I said, seeing like your growth from the very first time I seen your ad in 2020 all the way till now, I was like, he knows something. He knows more than what these other people are telling me, these other trainings, these other mentors, and what they're telling me to do, and their marketing calendar is not working for me. So he knows something, and I'm just gonna do it, and it's gonna go good in Jesus' name.
Then next thing you know, you join the training. Let's talk
Yes.
about that. I was going to talk about like the first 30 days. Once you join the training that first week, how did you feel? Learning the new information, applying the new information, update everybody on like that first week.
I was really excited, and I told myself, okay, Arianna, you invested X amount of money into this program. You're gonna do it, and you're gonna go all the way in, and you're not gonna tiptoe into it. You're not gonna be hesitant. You're gonna learn all of what he's teaching. You're gonna just dive right in and apply it.
So now that you dived in and applying it, what was the biggest struggle? What would you say was the hardest part of the training for you?
When you told me to raise my prices, that was really hard, but I realized it was because I have like a money, like my perspective of money is it needs to change, and I'm working on it getting changed. When I grew up, we were really poor, and my mom was like on welfare and everything, and so I lived in poverty. So now that I'm older, I'm learning to get out of that mindset, that I don't have to like scrounge around. I don't have to do that anymore. And the art that I make, it's worth what I'm asking. And I think that was the hardest part. And now it's a little bit easier.
Yeah. What was your favorite part of the training?
I really like all the bonus videos, because you talk about going deeper into your why you create the art that you create, and then building building powerful captions. Those are probably like my two favorites that I listen to almost every week.
The crazy thing is, out of everything in training, like everything from mastering Instagram to talking with clients and closing sales, gonna come back and buy again, everybody say their favorite is like getting deep into that why, which is
Really?
just yeah, everybody's so interested. Like they really just say the same thing, like just the why in the caption.
Yeah.
So now going back once again to that first week to 2 weeks. Now I know your first week to 2 weeks was pretty insane.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that. When we say insane, kind of walk through what those first 2 weeks looked like.
Okay. So I was listening a lot to the trainings, just going back and forth when I would, go pick up my son or go drop him off at school. If I had to go run errands, I put on your training, just listening. And every time I listened to it, I was like, okay, I missed that. He said this. This is really good. I need to remember to do this. So like I said, I just really went all in, and then I decided okay, it's time to apply it, because my son's tuition payment is coming up, and we need to make some money. So that's when I posted a reel. And you know what? I didn't get viral, but I wasn't looking to get viral. I was looking to sell that art piece, and I sold it 4 days into the training.
So 4 days to the training, first 3 days, you study. And day 4, you're like, let me test this out. Let me apply some of this. test it out, and then day 4 you sell the painting. Was this
Yes.
original?
Yes.
So was
And
that
it's framed.
you said was it framed?
It was framed. It was framed because I listened. I mean, I listened to her, but now I'm selling art that is not framed either. So the framing is kind of irrelevant.
I told you I wasn't going to say it, but whether it's framed or not, it won't make a difference in somebody purchasing.
It doesn't make a difference.
It really does. You make now. Let's talk about that. I always say the first few sales are the best. I would say here's the trajectory. Your first few sales feel the best, and then when you raise those prices significantly, and then you make another sale at that raised price, that feel the best. So you had to making your first few sales. How did that overall feel for you? Like, did it give you confidence? Did it make you feel like, holy crap, I can really crush it? Where were you at?
I was like, I was crying. I was crying because I was like, I couldn't believe that people were buying my original art. Like that was the thing that I've been trying to figure out, but I couldn't figure out on my own for X amount of years. You know, for these
Let
3
me.
years,
I'm gonna slow you down here. You say I believe people because you mentioned one sale, which is day 4. Now you're saying you couldn't believe people was buying artwork. So what do you mean by that? Say by the end of 2 weeks, how many sales have you made?
within just those first 2 weeks,
Yeah,
it must have been like that's 14 days. It must have been at least 13 pieces in 2 weeks.
13 artworks,
Yeah.
originals.
Originals, even stuff that I had in the garage. I was like, let me take this. Let's see how let me sell this one too while I'm at it, because I understood
Now,
how to sell it.
so now you're like, holy crap, I understand how to sell my work. So it's like everything for sale. Let me actually go sell this one really quickly.
Yeah.
So in the first 2 weeks, you sold 13 pieces. Now, 13 pieces is a crazy lot of art to sell, right? That's probably the most, I don't know if it's the most, but it's up there. It's definitely one of the most artists sold in their first weeks of joining. Now, people are going to think like, if she sold 13 pieces, like what's the price range of those pieces? So what would you say was the price range of those 13 pieces?
Price range. I sold like some really small pieces. We're talking about like 5x6 for like $75. Really small ones.
Wait. Let's pause here. Let's pause. So you went from selling a piece to the lady at the church in 2020, but offered $20, sold it for 50 for a nice size, and now you're talking about selling smaller pieces. You're talking about like maybe this for 75,
Yep,
and
just
that's
like this.
75.
Mhm.
Okay, I'm listening. And then how expensive can it be? So that's like how expensive did the pricing get?
In those first 2 weeks, the highest piece that I ever sold was for $450.
Okay, so 13 pieces ranging from 75 to 50, right? Now, let's fast forward. You're making sales, you're doing great, everything is going great. Let's talk about what you mentioned was your hardest part. At some point I return, I say, Arianna, it's time to raise prices.
Yeah, you told me 2 weeks in a row in two different Q&As, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna just do it. My husband telling me to do it, and I'm like, okay, now he's telling me, and I was like, okay, I just need to get out of this mindset that's obviously hindering me
Yeah.
and do it.
I remember telling you, like, Arianna, you're here for a reason. You invested to be here. Just listen to me. I'm your mentor. Your job to be a good mentee and just listen. So I want you to raise those prices. So
Yes.
let's talk about it. 2 weeks went by. You finally said, okay, I'm going to raise those prices. How did things move forward? Was you hesitant? Did you still make sales? What did that look like?
I was hesitant, but I did it. I did it because I invested in the program, and I knew that you knew where I was at and where I started. And my monthly goal is important to me because I want to get there. I believe that I can get there. And I knew if I didn't raise my prices, I wouldn't be able to be moving forward towards that goal. And I would just be hindering myself, right? So, and I like goals. It's like a challenge to me. So I raised my prices and people were still buying. And I was like, okay. You want to buy this from me? I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, okay, well, and then I know I probably got ahead of myself because I asked you maybe like a week or two later. I was like, can I raise my prices again? You know, should I raise it? You're like, no, don't do it yet. Just wait. And I'm like, come on.
That's how enough. We talk about this so often. That's how I always have it. I'm scared to raise my prices, and then as soon as you see them, you make sales. You're like, okay, I'm gonna raise them again and raise them again and raise. And I'm like, let's just make a good bit of sales at this price first, and then we could raise them again. So with that being said, once you did raise your prices, what was the most expensive piece you sold?
I sold a 24 by 36 lighthouse oil painting for $1,000.
Okay, so now we're selling pieces at the $1,000 mark, which is we're gonna take a pause. You should be giving yourself a pat on the back here. We went from $20 art pieces
Yes.
to $1,000 for a single piece,
Yes.
which is great. All right. With that being said, you're selling pieces at 1,000. Things are going great. I want to ask, what was the goal financially? Like you say, you big on goal, set a financial goal. How much do you want to earn per month?
I want to earn $5,000 a month for now. For now.
I like how the for now is a very important point. For now.
Yeah, just for now. Yeah, that's just so I can get there, and then I raise the bar, and then I meet that goal. Just like
Yeah.
how I did when I painted cards. I wanted just to make enough just for groceries. And I met that goal. And then I made it myself another goal. Okay, you want to make enough to pay the card note. Met that goal. So I like goals.
And I think that's good.
I think that's why this program works for me, because it's very much about like meeting those goals.
And one thing I'm learning is just from you guys that I work with is that the goal you set is so in line with like your mindset. Like you mentioned, I love this because I grew up in a very, very poverty struggling area. So I grew up very, very poor myself. And you have, when you grow up in an environment and you're not able to see what's possible, you start these limitations on yourself. And then what I realize is, it's like the way it works is that we have a little success, and then a little bit of that limitation get moved. Then we have a little bit more success, then the limitation we had move a bit more. And like the limitation kind of go away. So it's actually going in vice versa. Like success, limitation comes down. Now we have more confidence. We believe we could achieve more. Then we have more success, then limitation goes down. Like, and that's what happened with you. You're like, Jaroid, I want to change my pricing because this is when I'm comfortable. I don't believe I could possibly sell for more. I never seen people sell for more. And then as you able to raise those prices and you sold for a little bit more, that limited belief you had just lowered.
Yes.
And you became more confident. Next thing you know, now you're like, I'm more confident. Draw, let me raise it again. Right?
I know, but it's mostly like my though. He's like, you can get a lot more for that. That is so much more detailed and you're getting better. And I'm like, yes, I know. I want to raise it more, but I understand what Jaroid is telling me to do. So let's get, this landmark, a few more sales within this price range. But I do have bigger campuses now. So we're going to go bigger. Price is going to go up. Just letting you know.
That's what I want. That's what I want. And I can see the confidence. That's what I say the biggest thing is not the price, it's the confidence when you set those prices.
Yeah.
It's like right. So now let me ask you this. Going from selling $8 calls at church and $50 paintings, so now selling pieces for 1,000, right? And even making, let's just say, 10 to 13 sales in the first 2 weeks, beginning sales consistently. What advice at this point would you give for an artist that's not in a training? Somebody that's watching this interview.
I would say that of course to sign up for the program, but I think the biggest thing is, like, if there's other artists out there, I'm sure there are, that are, consider themselves Christian artists. It is very possible that God could be wanting you, and you're in the perfect will of God, to be a Christian artist, right? So yes, that is good and everything, but at some point we all need that help. I know I did, and that doesn't make you as a Christian artist like less spiritual or anything for wanting that help from other people. Because I believe that, because I was praying, like back in July, I was praying for God to help me to figure out how to sell my paintings. And then that's when I seen your ad, and I was like, well, here's my answer, So I think that it's okay to accept that help, but come to the realization, like, hey, I need help, and it's okay, like, to ask other people for help and things like that, and just see where God brings you with it.
I think that's an amazing answer. I always say that a lot. Say you always like lead with seeking help first. Like seek some. Like people ask me, I say this all the time. I say the stuff I teach you guys, I don't consider myself a genius, or smart, or like some guru. All I do is I just think are the smartest people, and I learn and I share that information with you guys. So I say that's the best advice, is to like seek help from who you think the best information to help you get to where you want to go.
Yeah.
So let's say the next person watch this interview say, you know what, Arianna, and I'm going to join this training. And let's say they join the training. You having such a fast start. What advice would you give to a new artist who just joined the training?
To make it a point to do your best to not miss the Q&As, because there's a lot of valuable information. And if you think some of the information may not apply to you at that time, it will later. So just kind of like keep it in your memory box, in the back of your mind, because you will be applying the information later on. And also, I did talk with another artist in the program. I won't tell her name or anything like that, but you have to understand that once you make this type of commitment, because it takes money to make this type of commitment for this training, why would you throw away that investment just because you're afraid to open up to people? I have used your training as a way for me to share my testimony with others, because that's basically part of the training, what you're asking us to do, going deeper into your why, so therefore you can share it. And so that's what I'm doing. I'm sharing my testimony with other people, and how my art is all connected and kind of intertwined with it, and of course, where God has brought me from. So, just and it's okay to share, but if you have a problem with who you are, it would probably be best to really investigate that first, and really learn to be okay with who you are, and to be okay with letting people in, so that they know who you are, and then they'll like you and may buy your art.
Yeah. One thing I always say is your ideal buyer is usually someone who really resonate with your why, with the reason you create your artwork. So usually when you, like you said, when you share a testimony with someone else, you're most likely going to align with that person, because that person will most likely share the same exact background, or at least a very similar background to yourself, and that would allow relationships to build. Relationships build through common ground.
Yeah, It's very true. My very first lighthouse painting that I did, this is the fifth one in the series, but the first one that I did, small, 16 by 20, because I was like trying to feel the waters, you know. I sold that in a day and a half. And the lady was like, she's younger than me, by the way. So don't, that's another thing I'd like to share. Don't, you know, just disregard people that are younger than you, thinking like, oh, they don't have money or they're not willing to invest. They are, if they can resonate with your why, like how you said. And that's what she did. She resonated with my story. Therefore, she resonated with that particular piece. And I sold it in a day and a half to a lady that goes to another church in Paramount out here in California.
That's amazing. Now, fast forward. I don't know how many months it's been. I just say 5, 7 months. What would you say overall from your journey in the last 6 months? What would you say is the biggest lesson you've learned?
The biggest lesson that I've learned is you do not have to go viral to make sales. That's like the biggest thing, you know, because a lot of people are like, well, you got to go viral, and you got to do this, and you got to do that, and you have to be consistent with posting. You have to always have your website updated. I can't even tell you the last time that I've updated my website. I keep forgetting about. I forget that I even have it now. You know, I don't check it. I don't even know the traffic that's on there because it's irrelevant. You don't need to have that. You know, and you don't have to go viral. You just have. I feel like you just have to be open to like sharing your story. I have some reels that are like 3,000 views only, but I made sales. I've made sales from it. So you don't have to like put that pressure on you, like, oh, I have to go viral. No,
Yeah.
you just have to engage. You get 3 comments, you engage in those 3 comments. You may not make a sale from it. I don't know, but it depends how good you are at like letting people in and understanding your why. And then you engaging with those people even thereafter that.
That's perfect. I should like start teaching this.
You can hire me.
Have you come on to these Q&A calls?
You can hire me. I don't live far from Catherine.
Oh yeah, because you both are in California.
Yep, that's right. Yep, you can hire me. I'll be a part of human resources.
That's what Catherine said. Catherine is like, when I'll be able to do an interview? I'm like, Catherine, I don't know if you can like do an interview at this point because you are part of the team. She's like, but
Yeah,
I still a part of training. I was a part of training before I joined the team. I was like, I'm gonna think about it.
I'll think about it.
So
She's awesome.
now, 2 questions. One, now that you're here, you're crushing it, you're doing great. What's the goal for Arianna in the next 12 months? Say this time next year.
To exceed my 5K monthly goal.
Consistent.
Consistently, yes, consistently. I have a few commissions pending. I'm gently following up with them. So I'd like to book all 3 of those. I'd like to get more bookings for live wedding painting, which I really like doing. I feel really feel cool doing those. I like doing those. And honestly, whenever my pastor presents a need to the church and asking like if we would like to be a part of contributing to that need financially, I'd like to do it without hesitation. I'd like to be able to give because that's just what I like to do. I like to help. And I don't ever want to feel like I only have this amount, or I only have the payment for my son's tuition. That's all I have. I can't give. I don't like feeling like that. If there's a need in the church, or anybody outside of the church, I'd like to be able to give. Simply put, I just like to be able to give.
I'm with you. So overall, it's be to put yourself financially in a position and just emotionally, mentally in a position to be able to. And
Yes.
last question. Speaking of giving, if you give Jaroid any advice, what advice would you give Jaroid?
Um, that maybe you can take a small vacation.
Well, everybody keep telling me that. Every interview, everybody like, take a break, take a vacation, take some time off.
Hey, like just a week or something. And I know you don't do, like, you're not a social butterfly. I get that. Just go somewhere like to Tahiti or something by yourself. Take your nephews or something. I don't know. Just take a small vacation, get refreshed, don't answer any emails, just go take a vacation. And then but I understand maybe in order to do that, you might have to hire Catherine an assistant to help her. She might need an assistant. So
An assistant for the assistant.
assistant, because I was thinking about it the other day. I was like, man, Catherine has a difficult job, and there's significantly a lot more artists that have joined your program even since July that I've joined. There's like over 800 or something. So I was thinking that's a lot of people to keep track, especially because they're in different time zones all around the world.
Yeah.
Something to consider.
I'll consider that. And then last, wrapping up this interview, if you have to give other artists any last word, what would you say?
That if you are serious in your calling of being an artist, or even being a Christian artist, and it's God's perfect will for you, then just go for it. Just go for it. Sign up for this program, because you will get the most value out of this program. I've joined 2 other programs in the past, and it was a waste of time, a waste of money, and I would have saved myself a lot. I would have saved myself a lot of money by joining in this program back in 2020. So, yeah, that's my advice.
Cool. Well, I do want to thank you for having us in. It was a really, really, really good interview. I think everybody's going to get a ton of value from this. So we're going to wrap this interview up. We'll wrap it up here.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, Arianna.
Okay.